Hey everybody, Jeff Marr from Elizabeth School District, and joining me is Superintendent Dan Snowberger, and this is our Superintendent Monthly Review for April. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So this is where we highlight some of the initiatives that the school district is looking at, and we also look to recent events and future events, and obviously we're all kind of in the home stretch, heading towards graduation day and the end of the school year, if you can believe that.
It's hard to believe. I don't know where the year's gone. So
Yeah, so fast. And the first thing we want to tackle is something that we want to talk a bit at length, and it has to do with direct explicit instruction initiative. And I know that this is something that you're excited about, and let's hear all about it.
Yeah, so we've talked about this in some of my newsletters. Public education, we've moved away from direct instruction, and some will say, what the heck is that? And you know, we've moved away from where we used to have teachers do a lot more direct teaching, meaning I have the knowledge, you need it, let me teach you, to a lot of facilitated learning, meaning a productive struggle. Kids are given projects and they kind of work through those projects, hoping they will learn the content themselves. And that's kind of what our colleges are preparing teachers to do now. Unfortunately, not every student's prepared to productively struggle and find that content. As a district, we really are hoping this summer to prepare our teachers to move back to the way that many of us parents learned in our classrooms, where we came in and teachers led us, they taught us the concepts. We learned how to learn that skill. We practiced that skill together, and then once we had some solid understanding of that skill, we had a chance to practice it ourselves and demonstrated that we had solid understanding. And then we might go home and practice in homework. And we moved away from that in education. And I think we're seeing that where we see more and more students, that gap is growing. Again, we've talked about 45% of our kids can read at grade level. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that not every student learns through productive struggle in our classroom. And so we as a district have to do better. And again, our teachers are doing amazing work. They're coming to work every day, wanting our kids to be successful. And we as a district really want to make sure we're supporting our teachers and making sure that we can improve that achievement level. And so we had a training day on March 24th after spring break, and we exposed our teachers to this expectation. We brought in our trainer, Zach Rochelle, to give them a brief glimpse of what we're moving to next year. And we've got training set up after the summer when Zach will be here with us. He'll be in schools next year, throughout the year, really working with our teachers, visiting classrooms, doing some coaching. He's been working with our principals every month leading up to the end of the school year, and really helping our principals be prepared for that instructional coaching that needs to happen. So really important that the parents understand, we want to make sure that your children come to school to learn, and that kids are engaged from the beginning of the class period to the end of the class period, and actually learning the skills that they need to have to build upon that knowledge, so that when they finish their pre-K-12 education, that they are ready to face whatever challenge that they choose to pursue.
And will that look any different at home for parents and students in terms of the homework and the assignments that they'll be tasked with?
I mean, I hope what it will look different is that when students come home with homework, it will be homework that they're prepared to be successful with. I know I've heard from parents, my kid comes home and I don't know how to help them.
Yeah.
And I think some of that is because they come home and maybe they're not prepared to do that homework. Maybe because of the productive struggle, they didn't get to a point of mastery. And so therefore they have homework and, Mom, I don't know how to do this. And so with direct explicit instruction, there's a process that it's called I do, we do, you do. I do meaning the teacher demonstrates it. The we do meaning we do it together to make sure that we have solid understanding. And we don't get to the you do, student does it, until I know for sure that you have an understanding. And
Right.
that's when we would get to the homework piece. And so I think it's so important that that we take a step back and we make sure that all of our teachers are using that type of a process. And let me be clear, many of our teachers are. So this isn't a massive change for every teacher in our district. For many of our teachers, it's reinforcing some of the work they already do. For some of our newer teachers, it is a change because our colleges are not teaching this anymore. They're teaching
Yeah.
productive struggle. They're teaching facilitated learning. They're teaching, let students struggle, let students kind of figure it out together, let them work in a group. I don't think you send your children to school so they can struggle with a group. You send your children to school so that we can teach them the skills that they need to know. And that's really important that we get our district back to that.
And I do remember back when I reached that threshold where my parents couldn't provide much
Yep.
support at home, and it was around high school and studying some of the more
Yep.
advanced stuff, and they kind of said, well, you're on your own with that
Yeah.
one.
Well, and so many parents get frustrated with math. This new math. When we learned math, there was a process. We did it. We got the right answer. And I know so many parents say, "Well, that's not the way I learned it," and
Yeah.
it is getting to the right answer. It's did we solve the problem? And so much of our new math is learning this new strategy and learning the way. And ultimately, it is, can we get to the right answer?
Well, we're looking forward to that, which is going to kick off with the new school year,
Yep.
25-26, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and the next year we really are excited about again restructuring our schools, making sure that again we want to make sure next year that students move forward with mastery. And so again, 45% of our children reading on grade level. We are going to ensure that students move when they're ready. Again, that's not, we don't intend to massively retain students, but we intend to make sure that we have the appropriate interventions in place. We've talked about our dyslexia initiative. We're really excited that we've hired a certified academic language therapist who is not only able to teach students Take Flight, which is a dyslexia therapy program, who will be able to teach that at all of our elementary and middle school programs, but we'll also be able to train other teachers who want to become certified academic language therapists. So we have a number of teachers who this June will be trained to become CALTS, certified academic language therapists. We'll be able to expand that programming. So students who struggle, we have so many children, parents, if your child is stuck at that third grade or fourth grade reading level and they're in middle school, there's likelihood that they have some form of dyslexia or that they're experiencing some challenges that might be dyslexia. And again, it's not as important as we diagnose it as it is that we treat it, as it is that we serve them in a way that allows them to overcome that. And so we're really excited that we've been able to hire this highly qualified individual who's going to help support us. So again, it's not about we're going to create these hard gates and say you're not leaving this grade until you achieve it. It's that we have the right services to make sure that students are able to achieve. And we're going to make sure that parents know if your child's below grade level. We're going to have, make sure that you get that notification before the end of the first quarter. We're going to outline how we're serving your child, what types of supports they're getting, and we're going to make sure that whether they're making the progress they need to and what we're going to do about it. So partnership is going to be really important. And again, have we notified you in the past? Hopefully we have, but we're going to be very explicit about how we're going to do that next year, and hopefully you're going to feel that stronger partnership.
So some exciting initiatives to look ahead to. And the other thing that we want to talk about is around this time of year in the education system, you typically see some moving around, some shuffling around. Sometimes people get promoted elsewhere. Sometimes they retire. So we wanted to address some of the personnel changes.
Yeah, there's always social media where people are, all these changes, people leaving. We are in a district, unfortunately, we don't tax our taxpayers. And I know some of you will say, yay. And we don't. We don't have the mill levies. Douglas County, Cherry Creek, they levy 25% more on their taxpayers for school taxes than we do. We don't. And so we can't pay our teachers nearly what our neighboring districts are. And let's face it, young teachers are trying to make a buck. They're trying to find ways to afford to live. We don't have housing in our community that teachers can afford. They're having to live in Douglas County. They're having to live in Aurora. And so our teachers, unfortunately, many of them will come to Elizabeth, begin their career, and when they can secure a job outside. Sadly, many of them are making that decision, and so we're doing everything we can to make them want to stay. And we have many teachers who have been here for so long and continue to stay with us, and we celebrate that. But we do have teachers who leave us, and again, we are excited because the pool of candidates that we're getting is deeper and deeper the last 2 years. So we do have some positions we're filling. We have some leaders that have parted, and that we are filling those positions as well. And again, I'm excited about the pool that we're filling. But again, we have those social media posts that, oh my gosh, all these people are leaving. Unfortunately, we're in that position as a district where people will leave because again, if you can make $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 more by going closer to home, sadly, that is what's happening. And folks, as long as we as a community don't have teacher housing, as long as we don't have affordable housing for our teachers, the reality is this is going to continue to happen. So we're going to continue to hire. We are filling some teacher positions. We encourage our community to get the word out that we're hiring. We want people who share our values as a community. So please help us. We're filling not only teacher positions, but we have some paraprofessional positions. We have some always looking for bus drivers. We are shortening some of our bus routes, which means we have to put a couple more buses on the routes. I've had many parents say, you know, my child's on the bus for an hour and 15 minutes. We don't like that any more than you do. We're hoping to add 2 more buses to our routes next year, which will shorten some of those routes. We need 2 more bus drivers. So if you know folks who are interested in working for the district, we have a great benefits plan. We do pay competitively for our community. So we hope you'll encourage people to apply, and we do have a job fair, and I think you're going to talk a little about that.
So the job fair is on May 3rd. It's going to be held at Elizabeth High School, and I have put out some initial messaging about that, but I'll continue to put out reminders. So again, Saturday, May 3rd, and we're definitely looking for teachers and support staff, and we're hoping for a good turnout. School leaders will be there conducting interviews, prepared to offer contracts on site to candidates that they are impressed with. And anything else you wanted to add about that?
8:30 to 12:30 at the high school, job fair on May 3rd. So again, please let folks in the community know that we'd love to have them come that day and interview. And as Jeff said, we're willing to offer contracts on the spot. So
okay. So look for more reminders on that. And speaking of Elizabeth High School, I wanted to talk about an event that you were at recently, and Jace Glick and students who received awards as part of the Stars Banquet. How did that go?
You know, Stars Banquet is my favorite event. This was my third. I've been here 2 years, but this was my third. I got to attend the very first one right after being hired. Stars Banquet is recognizing students who demonstrate amazing characters, students who take accountability and responsibility seriously. And you know what? In this world today, that is, I think, the most important thing we recognize is students who are just good human beings. Last Saturday, we recognized 50 students. You can only be recognized once in your time in Elizabeth from 5th through 12th grade, and it is an honor that you carry permanently from 5th through 12th grade. So it's not as if we don't recognize that you're great beyond. You wear that with a badge of honor from 5th through 12th grade. And it is so fun to see students who come back to that banquet, students who are recognized this year will come back next year and be recognized again. They serve during that banquet. And so it is an exciting time, but we recognize 50 amazing students. We read why they were being recognized, how they've made such an impact on their schools, on their classrooms. And, you know, we recognize the students, but we also recognize the parents because, you know, when a student just shows such great character, obviously it's because of their parents, it's because of their household, their families, their community in which they've grown up, the models that they've had. So I can't say enough about those students, and I'm just so proud of them. And it's always such an amazing evening. It's one I look forward to we give up a lot of weekends and evenings for our kids here in Elizabeth, but it's such a pleasure to do so when we're celebrating great kids.
And we want to thank all the volunteers and school staff for putting that together, and of course Jace Glick
Yeah.
for hosting.
And the Elizabeth Education Foundation.
Yeah.
They sponsor that event. They raise money to do it. It's a glamorous event. That cafeteria was decked out, and our Elizabeth Education Foundation. I asked that night. That foundation is run by just a very small number of people, and it is a 501c3 that raises money to give scholarships. It does the Stars Foundation, or it does the Stars Banquet. Parents, if you're looking for a way to give back to the community and give back to the school district, go to their website, Elizabeth Education Foundation, and just shoot them an email and say, if you need help, email me, because it's not that you have to be a president, a vice president, a treasurer, just to be willing to say, I'll give an hour on an upcoming event. It is an amazing organization, but it's the same 5 people who do everything. And they get tired. A year and a half ago, they were about to fold, and that would be the biggest crime of the century, to lose an organization like that. So if you're watching this, please think about shooting an email to them. Let them know, number one, how much you appreciate them, but number two, if you can give an hour, please do so, because they're an amazing organization.
We also wanted to talk about some of the exciting events coming up. As I mentioned at the beginning of this, we are racing towards the end of the school year. So that means we have graduation, we have awards, we have band performances. It's really a time to celebrate all the hard work that went into this school year.
Yeah, so definitely parents, check your school website, watch for those notices, award ceremonies, band performances. I think we have another play coming up at the high school. Definitely celebrate with your kids. It's been an amazing year of hard work on the part of our students, and we hope you'll celebrate. Last week I had a chance to celebrate our art participants in the art shows, both in our 4 traditional schools as well as at Legacy Academy. Just such a great opportunity to see the talent in this district. So watch your school's calendars and definitely take advantage of the opportunity of coming and celebrating with our students. And graduation is on Saturday, May 24th at 10 o'clock. Principal McClendon, it's an hour and 15-minute ceremony. We have yet to have bad weather on that day. I hope I didn't jinx it. I should find some wood really quick to knock on. But it is a great chance to celebrate. And that celebration is not only for the high school, but it's for all of our staff across the district who work so hard to get our kids across the line, and for you parents as well, who contribute to the success of your kids.
So look for additional communications about that as we inch closer to graduation. We also wanted to talk about the latest on the ACLU lawsuit against the school district and just where that stands.
Yeah. So at this point, we have an administrative stay from the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. They struck down the preliminary injunction that was issued on the district by the local district judge here in Denver. At this point, we expect the 10th Circuit to issue some type of an opinion in the next week or so. Again, that 10th Circuit has not issued an emergency, or is not acting in an emergency manner, meaning they're not moving fast. I believe they are taking it very seriously and looking very carefully at the matter. So again, we appreciate the fact that they stepped in rather rapidly after the preliminary injunction was issued a second time without a hearing. I guess that's our biggest concern. Is this is an important matter. Community weighed in. We listened to the community. We acted based on the community's input. And to have a judge step in without giving the district a hearing is very concerning. But
Right.
Again, we believe in the judicial process. Sometimes judges get things wrong, and that's why you have an appellate process. And so at this point, I've had watching social media, and I don't do that often. I get many people who send me social media posts. There will be people out there who want to make that the issue. We're moving forward as a district and focusing on our kids and what we need to do to make our district better.
Right. And a 501(c)(3) has been set up through Parents United to assist the school district with its legal fund. You'll notice a banner on our website, elizabethschooldistrict.org, where you can click a link that will take you to that donation page. And of course, we appreciate all of the community's help with that.
Yep.
Okay, so the next Superintendent Monthly Review will be in May, and by that time we'll be in full go mode for graduation and all sorts of other exciting events. Any other parting words
Nope,
before we wrap
just
up?
happy spring. We're in this fickle time of the year where the weather is constantly changing. We can have all 4 seasons in one day, as I think we are right now on the day that we're recording this. So again, I wish you all well and appreciate the support you've given us as a school district. And again, look forward to seeing all of you at the upcoming events as we're celebrating our students for just an amazing job that they're doing this 24-25 school year.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
And be sure to follow us on social media and check the website too, elizabethschooldistrict.org, for any updates. And we'll see you next time.